sewer operator, so he can address some of those questions, and I think he was part of it originally, I think. So.
I understand that Force Main has had 5 breaks over the years, so certainly I agree with that, but I'm talking about the, gravity sewers that flow roughly from Honeywell, the 2 foot that collect everything, all the way to Quick Check. That one, and John Signorelli is interested in the line along Sun Valley Way, which goes along the railroad. Hard to get to, these things will be hard to get to. But there's just no reason not to do this after 50 years, 60 years. No reason at all, and no one can say you don't have any problems, because no one knows. My second request.
So you want Bill to talk about that first?
Mr. Mayor, I'll have to take a look at the maps. I'm not even sure that large diameter pipe is ours.
Yeah, I don't think
So we'll have to look at the jurisdiction here.
Who's might it be?
Hanover Township, or Morris Township. I don't know, it's not ours, I'm pretty sure it's not ours.
Yeah, I don't think
But
so.
in any event, you know, I understand the concern that sewer systems need maintenance and inspection, but, you know, at this point, there's no indication that there's any major problems in the system in terms of pipe failures and that sort of thing.
Okay.
But the jurisdiction on that pipe is, I'm quite sure is not ours.
Okay.
Well, still, if you could talk to Hanover to do it, right, because it needs to be done. And the same with the other line along Sun Valley Way, which probably is our line.
If it's going through Quick Check, it'd probably be more, it goes to Butterworth, which is,
You don't know.
to Morris Township, I'm sorry.
That's where
Lake
our-
Road.
that's where our
That'd be
sewers
Morris
go.
Township instead of Hanover though, right? Probably.
Right.
If it's going towards Quick Check, it's going
But
directly to,
the line goes
Lake Valley Road.
right through our town, from Honeywell, under the railroad, under the park, under all those roads, to Quick Check. So, hard for me to understand what's being said there, but I'll leave that at this point. I'm just telling you, even though there's no evidence, there's no reason that something might not be happening and might not be caught before it happens, because if it collapses, you're in a big problem. Second thing is another sewer system need, and that's the generator for the pump station on Johnson Road. Generator is a diesel generator. It was put in 1970. It's old. They have a hard time finding parts for it. It's diesel, so if they run out of diesel, such as happened in Superstorm Sandy, they needed, back then they were using 5-gallon cans through the hurricane, through the night, running them up there. And now they have a truck with a tank on it that can take over there and dump some diesel fuel. Meanwhile, there's a natural gas line that's in the road that wasn't there when they put the generator in. So, we have a reliability problem here, that generator could break, or access to it, to get fuel to it, could be blocked by wires down. We now have flooding occurring on Johnson Road as another, mitigating factor. You can have trees falling down. I think it's time to put in a new generator and run it on the natural gas, and then not have this problem. I asked, John Signorelli if he thought we could get a new one into the building, or we'd have to mount it outside, and he says they're smaller today than they've ever been in the past, so he doesn't think it would be a problem getting in there. But I think it needs to be done. So that's the second thing. The last thing is just to ask, Mr. Ryden, the sewer, reports that are handed into the DEP, are they semi-annual or annual?
We make no reports to DEP.
Who fills out the collection system report?
The-
Who fills out the collection system report?
I make a report every month to Morris Township, receiving these.
And we don't have to send anything to the DEP?
That's right.
Okay, thank you. That report that you make out is, what is included in it?
It's a general status report of whether we had any situations that could impact the treatment plant or affect the system, failures, so things like that. But it's just a status report every month I submit.
Nice. Who in the borough do you send a copy of that to?
I don't send it to anyone, I keep it for Hertz. The
Okay,
engineer's office.
I think someone in the borough should be receiving this report. We have a council person in charge of that area, and maybe the chief or the head of the Department of Public Works. Just so there is some monitoring by the owner. That's subject to your approval. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Frank.
Frank.
Anybody else? We do have a special guest here today, correct?
Yes, he's there.
You wanna come on up and state your name and the reason for you being here?
Hi, I'm a Boy Scout with Troop 39. My name is Armand Joshi. I was recently elected as a senior patrol leader, which is like the head of the youth in that troop. I'm here to work on 2 merit badges that are required for Eagle Scout. So I'm just here to observe for the requirements and then report back to my counselor.
Good. Do you have any questions so far?
No.
Nothing? Is this interesting or is
Yeah,
it
no, it
boring?
It's good to see how this works. I haven't really been to one of these, so.
And who's here with you?
Oh, it's just me.
Just you two?
Yeah.
They kicked you out and they call us when you're done? So what I'm gonna do is, if maybe you wanna take a seat for a couple minutes, I'll go around the table and everybody can kind of explain a little bit of what they do in 2 seconds or 2 minutes and give you an idea of all the responsibilities that everybody has. You have a good meeting, we have our engineer here, our police chief, so this is probably the most people that come to a meeting that sit up here of the borough, so you have a good meeting. Why don't we start off with Nancy, she's our council president this year, and she can just stay what she does.
Hi Armand, so we all switched roles for our committee assignments this year, so I'm kind of the new chair of Public Health, Sanitation and Sewers. So I probably will be getting a new report, thank you, Frank.
One more to the list.
Yeah, exactly, that's fine, I can read it off at the meeting too. So one of the, public health is the Board of Health, so we have a contract with the county, they help us with a lot of our Board of Health inspections of the restaurants and things like that, so they meet monthly. They didn't meet in February, but they're gonna meet again in March. And that's been really, really interesting. They also do the rabies clinic and those types of things. Anything, also animal licensing is under my responsibility. And some fun things too, like the Teen Center and the Municipal Alliance, who has a lot of great events around the town. You'll hear during my report, I'll be talking about some of the activities that the Municipal Alliance is sponsoring, like the Stage Fun show that's about to happen. So those are, I also have recycling, so the recycling center, the recycling pickup, which you'll hear me report on that as well. And sanitation, so that's your garbage collection, which our contract is up at the end of the year, so we'll be looking at some options for that. And clean communities. So we get a grant to keep our community clean, and we have somebody who chairs that, and you probably as a Boy Scout have been involved in some of those community cleanups, right? So he coordinates that. So that's pretty much in a nutshell what I'm working on right now.
Good. Kathy, 2 minutes.
Oh, 2 minutes, great, thank you. We all have new committees, and I still have to read what I'm doing. And read what they're doing, because I didn't memorize it yet. But I do ordinance and public utilities, and some of that is streetlights, zoning officer, fire, subcode officials, planning board, board of adjustment. Right now, my biggest feeling is with the planning board, because they have come to a cessation of one of the projects they're working on, not cessation, but I'll explain that in a few minutes. But I'm the chair, but I have 2 people on my committee, and that's Nancy Verga and Sal Cortese. So we all get together and decide things, and we try to share all the information we have with them, so everybody knows what's going on. Okay, I'd like to know if you have any ideas about what you wanna do for your badge, your big badge. Have you decided? No, still working on it? Okay, good.
Still thinking about it.
We can still talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I have some good ideas for you. so
Okay.
I'll share them with Kathy.
Thank you.
Good, thank you. Joan?
Do you know anything about swords? No, I'm just
He doesn't want to either.
Yeah, right. So very nice to, I believe you've been here before, right?
No.
No, you
Just his
haven't?
brother,
Yeah, my brother
his
is-
older brother.
Did a virtual
Oh,
meeting
okay.
during COVID though. So I don't think he's ever been here specifically.
Maybe just I've seen him so much.
Yeah, well, nice to meet you, welcome. We're thrilled to have you. And it's good for us to be able to share a little bit about what we do with our different committees. As mentioned, we're all new in our roles, this year. And I manage public buildings and grounds. So that is essentially all of the borough-owned properties. And then the volunteer organizations that help support the things that happen on our properties. So, I'm the liaison to our rec commission, which is responsible for everything, including, the parks, working with the little leagues, our swimming pools. They also help with some of our borough events as well, so very tapped into them. I work with our shade tree commission, so they are responsible for the maintenance and pruning of our trees in the borough, and also identifying those trees. Like, for example, recently when Councilman Room was on it, there was a big project about the ash trees, right? Because many of them are hollow inside, they were at risk of falling. So for a few years, we were working on chopping down a lot of those trees. What I'm proud of is now that I'm on it, we're in the replenishing phase. So we're looking to plant many trees, make up for all those ash trees that we had to cut down. Also patriotic celebrations, so I'm part of the parade committee, which is a big event in our town. And then downtown Morris Plains is, it falls under me as well. I just had to mention the pumpkin illumination. I think we're on a roll here for keeping that going, because it's such a good event that we had, but really thrilled to hear what they have going on for this year. And that's a little bit about me.
Good, all right, 2 minutes or less.
Just want to clarify, I did not bring the ash borer over here.
You helped combat the problem.
We're removing trees that were damaged by that. I'm Councilman Brune, and my liaison this year is Public Works. So if you see snow on the road, those are the guys that take care of the snow removal, which they do a fantastic job. Leaf collection, park maintenance, they really do an amazing job. I share with Council President Berga, and Dennis is not here tonight, but we, as Kathy mentioned, if something's a big discussion, we'll get together, talk about it, and try to make a decision as a committee and bring it to the floor here and make a full vote. But they do a great job maintaining the roads. If there's a curb that's damaged as they're plowing, or however got damaged, the basins, sewer maintenance. We also work with the engineering company, safety committee, so they do quite a bit of hard work. It's hot in the summer, it's cold in the winter, but they do a fantastic job, and good group of guys, and I'm looking forward to working with them this year. So it was nice to meet you, and congratulations on your efforts.
Sal?
Welcome. I was also a Boy Scout in Troop 59 in Morristown. So, are you getting a merit badge tonight, or?
Yeah, two.
Which ones?
Citizenship and community and communications. So they've got
Congratulations. Sal Cortez, I'm the chair of the public safety, and I'm very lucky to be working with Councilwoman Kelly and Councilwoman Godard. We're very dynamic. We oversee a lot in the town. I have to read these because my memory is like it used to be, but just to give you a quick: police department, municipal court, licenses, fire department, fire prevention, traffic committee, and local emergency planning, which is the Department of Office of Emergency Management, which is done by a police chief. He's gonna talk right after me. It's fun, it's a lot of work, but I love it, and it's nice to give back to our community. We have a great community here in Morris Plains, and you're probably here because you heard we were good, right? Alright, I'm gonna pass the mic to Mike, our chief.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. Mike Krosky, the chief of police, been a police officer here for 22 and a half years. Oversee the police department daily operations, 3 divisions of the department, our patrol division, our support services division, and the investigative division. As Mr. Cortez said, I also am the chair of the emergency management coordinator here. Seeing things like mitigation of storms and how to prevent loss before the storm even happens, and then clean up and reimbursement from the federal government and the state following. So a busy seat to be in sometimes, but happy to do it.
And Mike is an Eagle Scout? and Mike wears the same pants size now as he did 22 years ago. Really something to be proud of.
It's a 30 waist if you're looking for a Christmas gift.
Bill,
Yes.
why don't you tell?
So, I'm Borough Engineer Bill Ryden. We handle all engineering matters for the borough. That's our planning reviews for the planning board and the board of adjustment. We deal with the sewers, systems, storm drainage, recreation facilities, any and all and every aspects of engineering we handle here for the borough. So, it's interesting, it's diverse. You never know what comes up, what kind of projects we have to deal with. Good luck to you.
And Roseanne's our borough clerk.
Hi, nice to meet you. We were emailing back and forth. Nice to finally meet you. I oversee the daily functions of the mayor's office, respond to requests from the public. I'm secretary to the governing body, and I'm required to attend all the meetings and record all the proceedings, which I'm doing as we speak. I'm the official records manager. I keep all the municipal records, all the documents, ordinances, agreements, resolutions. My office accepts applications. We issue licenses, permits, and other documents that are required by the municipality. The borough clerk also serves as the borough's elections officer and registrar of voters. And we're also registrar of vital statistics. We issue marriage licenses, birth certificates, death certificates. And that's it.
We have our borough attorney here today too.
So my name's John Horan, I'm the borough attorney here. And what I do, and what you've seen tonight, is this body, the mayor, these council members, they make laws here in Morris Plains. They set forth policies and regulations, and they do things that they think are gonna improve the borough. And they work hard at that. But these laws tonight that they pass don't just stay in this room. They have to go somewhere, else they don't really have any effect. So one of my jobs and what I do is I take these policies and these regulations and these laws that this governing body passes tonight, and I put them on paper, and I turn them into laws that become enforceable and become recorded so everybody knows that they're the laws. It's a small function of what I do. I also provide legal counsel to the mayor, council, and other employees here in Morris Plains when they have legal questions, because in this industry, legal questions come up all the time. So that's kind of what, I mean, that's generally what I do. But I also do what you think lawyers do on behalf of the borough too. You know, I do go to court, like the lawyers you see on TV in fancy suits with their cufflinks, and they look like they just came from the gym. I do that too. I go to the court, I argue in front of the judges, and I try my best on behalf of the borough. The difference is, I don't look like I just came from a gym, and I surely don't have cufflinks, so I sit here and I'm not on TV. And then lastly, I'll say this. I was impressed tonight that you came up here, you sat here, and you have nobody here with you. Young guy, and you're confident enough to do that. You know, I think that speaks volumes about your character. I wish you the best of luck too. I think you're gonna go very good places here.
Welcome again. I know that's a lot of information, but in a nutshell, I mean, that's generally what everybody does around here. These aren't the only people that make the borough go around. We have volunteers, we have our DPW, a lot of people who are represented here today. So this is really just a small portion of people in the borough that make the wheel go around. My job as mayor is to manage all of this, and I'm on the phone with the attorneys, I'm on the phone with the police chief a lot, the department heads, and the clerk's office. Daily, if not 3-4 times a day. And it takes a lot to keep everything moving and manage everything and know what's going on and make the best decisions that are best possible. So I enjoy my job, I love doing what I'm doing, and I was a council person for 11 years and now mayor, and it's a very rewarding position to be in. So I hope you get something out of this tonight. Well, congratulations on the 2 badges that you're gonna get, and we hope to see you with an Eagle Scout project back in the same seat. So, is there any other questions that you have?
I don't think so.
If you have questions throughout the meeting, feel free to raise your hand, we'll try to answer your question. And you're not gonna sit in the back, you're gonna sit right in the front now. You know, front row, that's empty, that's your new seat for today. Any comments you wanna make? No?
Well, I wanna get some of the younger scouts in our troop to come to show up to some of these. Well, they all need to at some point anyway, so I think it'd be good to get them to come.
Absolutely.
And I was gonna get a couple to come this time, but it was a little last minute. I don't know if I was gonna get anyone in the first place. But I know there's 2 in March, I think.
I believe so.
So
I think there's more, I think it's, well, maybe, well,
There's
it's
two.
2 in one, yeah.
so I'll tell them then.
Good, well, we welcome you, and
Yeah, we
then
look
if they
forward
wanna show up, that'd be fantastic.
Thank you.
Good to see you, thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Mr.
Thank you
Noel.
very much.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thanks, Aaron.
Moving on to reports of committees or department heads. Finance, Mr. Wagner is not here with us. Does anybody have a report for Mr. Wagner? Seeing nobody, will move to public safety, Mr. Cortez.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a short one. It was about Morris Plains, but I just wanna say, keep the victims of the Kansas City parade in your prayers, everyone. It was a sad day for all of us to see that, and can't believe it. As far as public safety, I met with my committee and police chief and Dave Schultz regarding the expansion of the police stations, and talks are going on with that, and the chief will fill you in with that. I wanna also commend the chief for his application for distracted driving crackdown. How many times are we down Speedwell Avenue and the light turns green and people don't move? They're on their cell phones. And next thing you know, it's, three accidents. People take off because they think it's green instead the car behind them, in front of them didn't move. So it's really, after I saw that application, I went on the road. I couldn't see how many people were just not moving, and the light's green. And it's a good thing, and anything that can promote safety, I can't tell you how much I'm for it. It's important. I do want to apologize. Last meeting, our fire chief was here, but I never got a chance to give him a chance to give his report. He couldn't make it tonight, but I'm sure he'll give it to us at next meeting. And I'll be meeting with some more committees as far as traffic and our fire chief also in the 3 weeks that we have a little break over here to catch up on things. That's all I have, man.
Good, chief?
Good evening. I'll start with, late last year, I mentioned an Arrive pilot program that Morris Plains is participating in, the first of its kind in Morris County. Arrive is alternative response to reduce instances of violence and escalation. We're starting Tuesday, February 20th, with an introduction to mental health staff. They'll be arriving with police officers close in time, not exactly with the police officer in the car. But we're looking to reduce incidents of mental health that we see constantly reoccurring, not only in Morris Plains, but throughout Morris County, throughout the state of New Jersey. So we are one of the 4 towns in Morris County piloting the program for Morris County Prosecutor's Office and the Attorney General of the state of New Jersey. So we're looking to reduce the number of times that we interact with individuals experiencing mental health issues, try to get ahead of them a little bit on scene to reduce the violence, and then offer some services as a follow-up. So our 36,127 calls for service, hopefully we can tap into a little bit more of a resource helping those victims of mental health. We are, as you all know, deeply invested in community policing, and for that, with our 2 new communities on America Road and Tabor Road, we're hosting a coffee with a cop with a date hopefully to be determined in towards the end of March, where we're specifically going to have coffee with a cop at the common rooms in both of those venues, so that way we can meet those new residents. I know they're a little bit on the outliers of our communities, but we want to make them feel just as welcome and introduce them to our staff. We're doing baseball coach CPR coming up towards the end of March as well, the 20th and 21st, I believe. Councilman Cortez also mentioned our building committee design plan team that met Monday. I'm losing track of all my days during the week, but we do have some final proposals that we're reviewing, and hopefully getting some closer to some much needed renovations and revisions downstairs in the police department, and then that's also going to help the borough as well, some additional office space if all goes to fruition. And lastly, Councilman Cortez also mentioned the 2024 distracted driving campaign. That application is going in for some cell phone and other distracted driving that is a reimbursement by the state for the hours that the officers will put in. So we'll be out there hopefully in the spring enforcing some of our traffic laws around Speedwell Avenue and those distracted driving areas that result in our collisions. So That's all I have this evening, unless there's any questions, comments, or concerns.
So just with the CPR stuff, I think that was a suggestion at a council meeting by somebody, and glad to see that.
Yeah, we've done soccer and baseball, and my concern is always getting that initial CPR and defibrillator on
Thank you.
somebody. So, we have trained, CPR instructors, we have 2 right now, we're training another 2 coming up, I think in, the next couple of months, that we'll be able to expand our program and, help protect, the youth and any bystanders that are at, baseball games that might have a medical emergency. So we have the staff to do it, so it doesn't cost us anything other than $5 for a card, so a better way to protect our community and have a lot of first responders on scene.
Yeah, absolutely, that's a good thing, so thank you.
By the way, Chief, how many lives has the police department saved already?
Oh, God, couldn't tell you, Sal, too many to count.
And isn't that wonderful? Save a
CPR
life. I mean,
did.
come on, is there anything better than that in the world? God bless you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Public Works, Mr. Broom.
Thank you. Just want to start off with the snowstorm we had Tuesday. It was a pretty fast-moving storm. I know they were out plowing, and as soon as they plowed, the streets were covered again, but they were kept at it, and they did a great job, so compliments to them. They continue to work on police, DPW vehicles and all-town vehicles, picking up garbage in all the parks, fixing potholes, started doing some interior painting when they weren't doing all the other stuff. They did some spring cleanup in Simon's Park prior to the snowstorm. They put a couple new basketball backboards up at Wattenham Park. Did some rounds of brush, any of the sticks that had fallen. Painted the annex kitchen, just sprucing things up inside, and they flushed all sewer trouble spots. And then they said they did plow the salt of the town, so I think they did a great job on that. And that's all I have.
Good, thank you. Borough Engineer, I'm sorry,
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Guyton.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just one quick update. Last month, regarding the Tabor Road warehouse project on Route 53, I advised you that they were supposed to start clearing that site early in February, and there's been a delay with apparently some loan closing issues or whatever. They tell us they're gonna be starting early in March. That's all I have, very short.
Okay, thank you. Public Buildings and Grounds, Joan.
Okay. So has anybody been to Simon's Park to see the new playground there?
Mm-hmm.
It looks amazing, and kudos to the DPW for all their hard work in getting that up, and Rec as well for planning all of the new swing sets and other things. The funniest thing though is the kids couldn't even wait because there was caution tape all around it, and there were a bunch of kids inside play looking at the caution tape. No worries, because it was all done, but we're thrilled to really have those upgrades at Simon's. It's so well used. A few other things that we've been working on. The team has met with Ben Schaefer Recreation, they're a vendor, to review proposals for new playground equipment at Community Park as well. So they're working on that, and they're making some adjustments based on the ADA guidelines, but hope to have more report and some news on when that will be completed. We also are getting pricing for the fence around the pickleball courts. Yay! So I know every time I drive by there, there's people there, rain, snow, they're there. So really excited to have that moving forward, and I'll continue to give updates on that. We're also getting updated quotes for the bleachers for Community Park, and that would be for Field 2. Speaking of Field 2, we met with the Little League field rep and DPW, Councilman Cortese, and Jerry Stitman. There's some real drainage issues on that field, and it's really sad because that's the T-ball field. And everybody's really first introduction to the field with young kids at Community Park. What's happening is because of the high ridge, the mountain there, all the water is coming off. Field 1, Flurry Field, for some reason is salvaged, thank God. But it's all kind of coming down onto the field, and it was quite shocking, right, Sal? Just in terms of how damaged the field was. But the good news is that the DPW was there with us. We were, Sal was able to give some of his expertise from his day job. And really start talking about how are we gonna fix the drainage there, because we want to replenish that field. It's an active field, very well used, but there's a lot of work that's gonna need to be done in order to have that ready for T-ball season. So more to come on that, and it's probably end up be a phased approach, right?
Yeah.
So, we're gonna see what we can do there. We're also looking for ways that we can partner with neighboring entities. So, for example, the Red Oak School has requested to use the turf field, so we're being good neighbor partners and allowing them to do that on April 7th. We're also discussing with the Lakeland Y, the director of summer camps. They're looking at the possibility of renting the community pool during the 2 weeks in August, so it would be after the Marlins, right? But it would be in the morning hours. So it would be before the pool is open, and it would actually be a nice way for us to generate some revenue. So it wouldn't have anything to do with our opening hours of the pool. They would bring their own lifeguards, but it's a really nice way to generate some revenue. So then regarding Shade Tree, so we've been discussing the Arbor Day festivities. The Shade Tree is responsible for putting on a celebration at Mountain Way School every year. That's the kids love. The full committee is gonna be planning the event, and that will be on Friday, 4/26. So we'll give more updates as we get closer to that. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we've been discussing about the replenishment of trees, and we're hoping to encourage residents to accept some new trees, because believe it or not, sometimes when people go and say, hey, we have a tree available, people don't want them. So we're thinking of ways to make it, that people can really see what it could potentially look like. And obviously, people might be like, I don't want that type of tree, or it's not the right color leaf, or whatever the case may be. But we're hoping to get to a point where we can make them understand exactly what type of tree it will be, and then hopefully they'll accept them. So more to come on that, but that is it for me.
Good. Is the Shade Tree, do they have a chair for Arbor Day?
The full committee is gonna be
Oh.
working on it.
Okay, good. Public health, sanitations and sewers, Nancy.
Okay, we have a recycling pickup this Saturday for those of you who aren't on the Rave Alert, which if you're not, I recommend you get on that because there's always great information there that's very timely. So I know, Sal, your neighbor has their recycling cans that have been plowed into the snow, unfortunately, because they didn't get the
He didn't get
memo.
that message about Saturday.
I guess not.
I texted him too.
So, and the recycling center is
These
also open,
doctors.
so for those people who are like, oh, my recycling didn't get picked up, and they bring it there, we'll have people to take it. Board of Health is not meeting this month, but they have a new borough email address that they requested. It's health@morrisplainsborough.org. They do ongoing blood pressure screenings the second Monday of every month at the Morris Plains Community Center from 1 to 3 during our senior meetings, and also the fourth Wednesday of every month at the Morris Plains Library from 10 a.m. to noon. So the next one is on February 28th at the library. They're meeting again on March 13th, the Board of Health. Municipal Alliance met on Monday, February 5th. They are doing some great programs, including 7th grade students' Be a Buddy, Not a Bully program in the school, which combines martial arts, mindfulness, and self-discipline. Stage Fun is gonna put on Finding Nemo. The performance is March 8th at 7 p.m. Those are always awesome. I look forward to that. They also are partnering with our Morris Plains Police Department for the LEAD program for 5th and 7th grade. So the Morris Plains Municipal Alliance provides the funding, and our officers provide the assistance to conduct that training for the students. They are working with the Morristown High School to do the Coffee House on March 1st, which is a great program for high school students who want to entertain their peers with performances of music, poetry, even stand-up comedy. That was always great. My kids went through that program. It's really good for Friday nights, place to hang out. And then in the spring, they're doing an Around the World Food Festival at the school, is replacing their family game night and their pizza, bingo, and books into one event. So save the date, May 17th, and there'll be more details on that. Community groups, there are gonna be cleanups in April to coincide with Earth Week, which is April 21st to 27th. So if you're Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, they're gonna hope to rally some help during that time period. And Teen Center had their Valentine's dance last Friday. They had 75 students attend, which was great, and they had a really nice time with the DJ and everything. We made a push for parents to submit their background check forms, so they'll be able to volunteer, and a large majority of families have complied with that now. We're also looking still to fill several board positions for the Teen Center, which is a good spot for those who don't want to chaperone, because it's an alternative way to volunteer. And the next event is February 23rd for the 6th grade teen center house. Let's see, and I think that's it.
Very good. Ordinances and public utilities, Kathy.
Thank you. Ordinance for municipalities, it's kind of like a law type thing, and this one is about stormwater control. Stormwater can be devastating to any town. It just causes flooding. So this is a very important ordinance that we're working on. I met with the town engineer and we talked at length about this ordinance, and I'm meeting with my committee, Mr. Cortese and Mrs. Verga, to complete the ordinance and submit it. The other thing I'd like to talk about is the planning board. I love the planning board. It is so fascinating. There's so much information, and I'm so new to it, so I feel I don't give enough energy to asking the right questions. I know there are no right questions, but still, there's a lot to be known. And they're talking right now about the Weichert property. This might help you with some of the things you have to say, okay? The Weichert property is on Route 202, Route 10 and Johnson Road. If you're going up Route 202, it's on the right-hand side before you get to Stop and Shop, that whole big parking lot area, and it goes way back. But this past Monday, there was a public hearing of the application for that property, and it's called, its working title is Highline Marketplace. And they got the final site plan approval for phase 1. And to that point, phase 1 has been given to Andrew Brewer, which is the Morris Plains Planning Board attorney. And may I digress for a minute to tell you that this becomes the planning board. There are people sitting up here you wouldn't recognize if you don't know who they are. They're none of these people. And there is a different attorney here, and there's a man that sits over here that they're showing the pictures, the drawings, the architectural pictures of drawings of what that is going to look like. And it's fascinating. And I guess people are always welcome to come to that and listen. It's fascinating. But Andrew Brewer is going to draw up an agreement for approval by all the planning board and Weichert. And there's more to come on that. But phase 1 is a done deal so far, so it was good to hear. We had a senior meeting. It's really not part of my my reports, but we had a senior meeting the second Monday of every month. We had one this past Monday, and it was fun. I try to take things there, the little tidbits from meetings, this meeting, that they may not hear. And it's always fun to be a part of their organization. And I'm always looking for speakers if anybody wants to volunteer their time to come up and speak about something they like doing or have interest in. It would be great. Let me know. And that's all I have. Sorry.
Fantastic, thank you. We have no presentations of communications or petitions. We have no introductions of ordinances. We do have ordinances on second reading. Kathy.
Sorry, I was getting to it. I, Councilmember Kelly, read by title the ordinance entitled Ordinance 1-2024, bond ordinance providing for the improvement of various roads in and by the borough of Morris Plains in the county of Morris, New Jersey, appropriating $684,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $649,800 in bonds or notes of the borough for financing such appropriation, which ordinance was introduced and passed on the first reading at a meeting held on February 1st, 2024.
I announce the meeting is open for a public hearing on the ordinance. Anybody wish to speak? Seeing no one, I close the public hearing.
I, Councilmember Kelly, state that the above ordinance as read by title on second reading at this meeting be adopted and finally passed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Verga.
Yes.
Mr. Broom.
Yes.
Mr. Cortez.
Yes.
Ms. Goddard.
Yes.
Ms. Kelly.
Yes.
Thank you.
I declare the ordinance adopted and finally passed. This ordinance is putting the funds in for place before we do our budget for the various road projects that we'll take on over 2024, probably over the summer. We have no resolutions, no unfinished business. We do have some new business that I'd like to bring up. I spoke about committees moving forward. One is the Affordable Housing Committee, that I feel is gonna be very important. Our new round, or our new obligation will be coming out in July of 2025, which is really right around the corner. As you heard earlier, on the consent agenda, the resolution opposing the new bill that the state has put forth, at least, and the Assembly has passed it with little or no input from municipalities and a lot of other people that should really be weighing in on such a extravagant bill. Hopefully, with all the opposition with mayors and councils around the state, they get back to work and do something that is reasonable. We all want and need affordable housing, but it just cannot be so detrimental to communities as far as services and infrastructure and that sort of thing, which this bill didn't take. Only a few things which this bill did not take into account. So, in preparation for whatever comes down the road, I'd like to put together a affordable housing committee, which would consist of Sue McCluskey from the Planning Board, Frank Dressler, the Master Plan Committee, Dave Schultz from the Board of Adjustment, Joan Goddard from the Council, myself from the Council, and Kathy Kelly from the Council, Ed Buzak, Liz Lehaney, and Bill Ryden, to look into what we have available, what our numbers are moving forward, or what we have now, the reserves and whatnot. So I'd like to put that forth, and that'd be the Affordable Housing Committee moving forward. The other committee that I'd like to,
So, those committees, that committee in particular is, you're gonna have to, that requires under our bylaws, consent of council.
okay,
So we have to get consent of council for that.
okay. Is there a motion to accept the Affordable Housing Committee as stated?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Can I second it?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Well,
Oppo-
just a,
Roll call or voice vote?
well, it's supposed to be discussed with the council before it's announced.
Is
Right,
there a
that's
discussion? This is what I've come up with.
Well, I mean,
to
and-
discuss.
shared with the council so that we have an opportunity to, according to the bylaws, approve or disapprove. So that should be done separately before it's announced, correct?
Yeah, but the procedure, really the procedure here, give me a second to close my thoughts. The bylaws provide that committees are appointed here in the borough form of government by the mayor with the consent of borough council. So when we appoint here tonight, what we should do, or when you appoint, what you should do is you should set forth the individuals and then have a roll call that's consented to by council. I would think that as you make these appointments to these committees, now standing committees are different, but these committees that are advisory committees in nature, because it does require borough council consent, there probably should be at least a discussion before the appointments to make sure that there is the consent of council, and that it gets a little bit, some discussion, but that's really a discussion for council and the mayor to have, but, theoretically, I would think going forward that when we assign to advisory committees, that there'd be a discussion prior to the meeting, because otherwise, to be fair, then what you're doing is you're appointing to a committee, and there is really not a lot that's, in other words, there's appointments to committees, but then there's not really an opportunity to discuss it beforehand. And then, of course, you're also then put in a position where you're in a public meeting, and the first time you get the opportunity to speak about it is in that public meeting. And then you have some limitations as to what you can and can't say, or you might not be as comfortable saying because you are in a public meeting. So to protect against issues that would arise there, I just think it would be going forward to have a discussion before the meeting about appointments. That's just my 2 cents. I mean, you don't have to accept it, but that would be my.
Well, that's the bylaws, right? I mean, we're following.
Well,
process.
the bylaws have the one sentence that says committees are appointed by the mayor with consent of council. So the question that's really here in front of the board right now, or the question that's on the table, is whether or not we should put names out and then have a roll call on those names, or if we should have a discussion before the meeting about those names, so that that you guys have a discussion and everybody knows the names that are here.
Yeah.
As opposed, because again, you can't have a full discussion, so necessarily without triggering concerns if you do it for the first time in a public meeting. In having these discussions, don't violate the Open Public Meetings Act. They don't violate the Sunshine Law either if there's not enough. So you should have a discussion on it. But again, that's a question of council and the mayor. You guys have to have that discussion. But that's just my advice.
Okay, I'll get these to everybody and then they can have a discussion. Moving on to vouchers, Councilman Berger, or Woman Berger.
I move that the vouchers in the amount of $1,784,764.99 be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Berger?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cortez?
Yes.
Ms. Goddard?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Thank you.
We do have a need for another executive session. Nancy?
Be it resolved by the Borough Council of the Borough of Morris Plains on the 15th day of February 2024, that prior to the conclusion of this regular meeting of the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Morris Plains, which regular meeting has been open to the public, the Mayor and Borough Council shall meet in executive session, from which the public shall be excluded to discuss matters of committee pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12 subsections
B5 and B7.
B5 and B7. B5 is purchase, lease, or acquisition of real property, and B7 is pending or anticipated litigation. The time when the matter discussed pursuant to paragraph 1 hereof can be disclosed to the public is as soon as practicable after the final resolution of the aforesaid matters.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The ayes have it. We're going to an executive session and then we will be back. I don't know whether it'll be 5 minutes or longer, but you're certainly welcome to wait and come back in if you'd like.